Hi guys, Tara Underwood here for video number 3 in our series of real estate knowledge videos. Today I thought we would take a quick couple of minutes to talk about agency relationships. Last week we talked about the different duties that your agent owes to you. So today I thought it would be important to see how those kind of play out in your relationship with your agent and what type of agency relationships there are. So today, again, we will be referring to this Working with Real Estate Agents brochure if you are in North Carolina. And this also could take the format of this document. So this is the same thing as the brochure, but if you are working with a North Carolina agent on a North Carolina property, you may see it in this document form too. Or if you are in South Carolina, you will see the South Carolina Disclosure of Real Estate Brokerage Relationships document. This document actually does a really good job of kind of outlining the different forms of agency. So we'll start with this document and kind of wrap up with the North Carolina document and fill in any holes there. So there's going to be two terms that I refer to today, so I want to introduce you to those first, one being buyer's agent and the second being seller's agent. So when you hear the term buyer's agent, typically that means the real estate agent who's working with the buyer side of the transaction. Some agents, real estate agents, only work with buyers, so they're strictly referred to as buyer's agents. The other term is seller's agent, so it's the complete opposite. It is an agent who's working on behalf of a seller to promote their home, sell their home, and some agents do only work as seller's agents. So you'll hear me refer to both of those today, so I just wanted to kind of start with the definition of those so that would make sense as I explain the different agency relationships. So the very first one that we'll talk through is single agency, and this is the most simple form of a real estate agency relationship. So this is when you are working with one particular agent. So say myself, who represents Reinhardt Realty, I'm working with you as a buyer in a transaction, and we find a home that you're interested in, and that home is listed with a totally different agent and a totally different firm. So you have two separate agents working from two separate firms coming together to complete one transaction. So that's what we refer to as single agency. The other type of agency that you'll come across is dual agency, and this could take a couple of different forms. So probably the most common type of dual agency is when you have a buyer and a seller who each have their own agent, but those two agents work for the same firm. That is what we call dual agency. That's one form of dual agency. Another form of dual agency would be when myself, say I'm listing your property and working with you as a seller's agent. Say a buyer contacts me and wants to work with me to buy your property. So at that point, that would be considered a possible dual agency relationship because I, one agent, am representing both sides of the transaction, the buyer side and the seller side. It's important for you to know when those type of situations come up because that will affect the way your agent works with you. It's really hard for an agent to promote your best interest in the transaction when they are acting as a dual agent and representing both the buyer and the seller in the same transaction. It can be done, and it works out great for a lot of people who have been fully explained that and want to move forward in that capacity. But that is a situation that you'll want to be made aware of if it does come up, and your agent should do that. So they should let you know that and ask you if that's something you feel comfortable with moving forward. The other type of dual agency is when two agents who work under the same firm, like I mentioned before, are working in the same transaction. So that's dual agency, but that can take the form of what we call designated agency. So with designated agency, the firm really designates one agent to solely represent the buyer, another agent to solely represent the seller, and then that way they can promote their client's best interest as they work with each one of those. So even though it's a form of dual agency, designated agency offers the same types of benefits as you see in single agency, because each agent, though they work for the same firm, really are working to promote your best interests, keeping everything confidential, etc. So those duties can be fully fulfilled in designated agency. So those are the different types of agency relationships. It can be kind of confusing. So if you have access to one of these brochures, take a look over it. If you have any questions after today's video, let me know. I'd be more than happy to help answer those questions. And again, whether you're working with the agent as a buyer or a seller, anytime any form of dual agency arises, they should make you aware of that, ask you your opinion, and if you want to move forward in that type of capacity or how you want to handle the situation. So you'll be aware when those situations arrive. Your agent will fully inform you of that so you can make the best decision for you. So like I said, it can be a kind of a tricky topic, so email me if you have questions. My email address will be available at the end of the video. And next week, we will have a brand new topic, kind of totally separate from agency. So I look forward to that, and thanks for tuning in.